Jesus Christ.
It was absolutely horrible. Oh god, it fucking killed me. All right.
So on one monitor, I literally just looked up a black picture and I made it full screen, and then my other monitor, it's you.
I thought you said I just looked up a black person. Oh god. Oh man. All right.
Oh my god.
So this is the tone of this podcast.
Black people apparently.
So welcome to Black People. Welcome to the Black Person Podcast. Neither of us have experience in this area, but it's just what it is.
I've had a few black friends in my day.
You know, I have one. He's the whitest dude on the planet. So
I had a couple of white black friends. I had a black friend at
you
one
got
point.
a black friend.
At one point, lost touch with him, fortunately. Yeah. It's whatever.
All right. So this is episode 1 of The Booth.
Yes, it is.
I don't know what the fuck this is going to turn into, but I'm excited for it.
So am I. Have you made any of the channels or anything?
No.
Do you want?
No. We have footage. It's fine.
Yeah. Let's record and then.
Footage and we'll be fine.
That's fair.
It's
That's
fine.
fair.
Don't worry about it.
Are you recording right now?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Sweet.
We're good. We're going. These are my favorite podcasts. It's just the bullshit conversation.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, then you want me to go ahead and give you my story?
Go ahead.
All right. So yesterday was my birthday, right?
All right.
And I understand why we have government. It's a necessity. And I understand that, there's 300 million people in the United States of America. Let's be honest, the vast majority of those are in Texas. And this is a story about how I can't trust my government anymore on the littlest of things.
What is this regarding?
My driver's license, of all things.
Okay.
So, state of Texas.
Do you want to give a backstory on how difficult it was for you to get your license?
Okay.
Moved?
Okay. So I'm 18 now, but when I moved to Texas, I was 15 and I had my learner's permit, and I had I was gonna say scheduled it. No, I timed it to where I could get my license on my 16th birthday, so I could be the cheesy 16-year-old walking into the DMV. Fuck yeah, I got my license. That didn't happen when I moved to Texas because I transferred over my learner's permit to a Texas learner's permit, and the great state of Texas makes you redo your learner's permit. So I was then set on a course to get it in May, which is when I ended up getting it. But I had to jump through a bunch of hoops at the DMV. Every time I'd go, they said I needed something different. They wouldn't give me a hard list of items that I needed. Just complete nightmare. But anyways, fast forward to a month ago, right? A month before my 18th birthday, I get 2 letters in the mail. One's to register to vote via the mail. One's to renew my license via the mail. I think, perfect. This is exactly what this is the difference between Texas and Louisiana government. This is awesome, right? So I fill out the paperwork, put it in the mail the next day. The next day. I still don't have it. Either of them. Voting card nor license.
You got nothing.
Nothing. And my license is expired.
You have absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Haven't gotten a letter from them. Haven't got an email because they made you put your email down on both forums. Phone number. Got nothing. So I've been trying to apply for new jobs and stuff. And really anything that needs a form of identification, I can't do because my license is expired. So I'm just kind of waiting on the government. I talked to a buddy of mine about this. So I started asking around my friends. I was like, hey, did any of y'all do this? Like, what? And he's like, my friend, my buddy David goes, yeah, I did it. Took him about a month after my birthday to finally get it to me.
That's
I was
government.
I
don't
was like,
care where you
Jesus
are. That's
Christ.
government.
Jesus. I keep having this false notion that the Texas government is somehow going to be like this almighty, gets it done in an instant kind of thing. But
look, the Texas government does a lot of things really, really, really well, but
yeah,
they're still government.
Exactly. And that's what I've been having to tell myself.
Yeah, they're still government. There's only so much that they can do really well.
Yeah.
Just
And to be
happens.
clear, I live in Mexico, so it doesn't matter that my license is
Yeah, you live
expired.
in Mexico. I mean, I'm in
Right.
Argentina. I mean,
Exactly.
it doesn't
Exactly.
matter.
Oh my god. Oh my god. But
Okay,
yeah, that's what I'm going through at the moment.
nice. I
Uh-huh.
uh I saw a guy on the way back from the gym who I could just tell from what he did while he was driving that I would feel so much better if I just hit that person in the face like as hard as I could. I don't know if this is
Do tell.
irrational or not. Okay,
Do
so this
tell. Do
guy's
tell.
driving an F-150 Platinum. I'm pretty sure he goes to um, a high school around here that starts with the letter C that you're aware of.
Okay.
Anyway, we're around that area of town, so we'll call it cunt high school. So, um, yeah, it's a good one.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll call it Cunt High School. Anyway, this guy's driving an F-150 Platinum, completely like whited out, just like chrome everywhere. I already hate white and chrome as a mixture on a car.
It's
Like
god
that's
awful.
those are two colors that just shouldn't go together.
No. No, no,
Not a
no, no,
huge
no.
fan of chrome anyways, but chrome and white just they shouldn't happen.
There's
So
some tasteful chrome out there, but
there's
not
some
with white.
tasteful chrome out there, but from the factory, I don't think there's any factory that does chrome very well.
No, 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 no.
Yeah. So like
No.
aftermarket chrome can sometimes be very, very good. But other than that,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really found anything that I've been impressed with. So, I gotta love it. So, anyway, I find this guy, he's in front of me. He's going like 80 on a 55. Swerves in front of me. All of traffic slows down. He slams on his brakes. I was like, this is amazing, actually. And then once we get back
Fantastic.
up to speed again, before he takes off and rolls coal in my face, he throws a Smoothie King cup out the passenger window. I don't know if it was a passenger or if it was him like reaching around to make it look like
Yeet
it was the passenger. I have no
for
idea.
Kobe.
Exactly. Too soon. Too soon.
Sorry.
Too soon. Anyway, he throws a cup. I don't know if it was him, but somebody throws a cup out of the passenger side window and it comes flying at my car, hits my windshield. Luckily, it was empty, but I was like, what a dick. And then he again speeds off, and then about 20 minutes later, after the next light, we get up to speed and he throws a cigarette out the next window. I was like, this guy's just an asshole. And then I watched him almost flip his truck going around a right hand turn. It was beautiful.
It's moments like this where we should invest in dash cams just for the shit that we could pick up.
Absolutely.
Because the other day I was driving and I was behind a pickup truck that was like had a stack of cardboard boxes in the back of it. Didn't bother to tie them down or put a bungee cord on them or anything. Throws one behind his truck. Now I was far enough behind that I didn't like, and it wasn't until I got to a red light and he was in front of me that I saw that it was just cardboard boxes. So at the time I thought that it was a piece of wood, and it fell down in like such a matter of time that I didn't have time to like swerve out the way of it, and I was in a 4-lane road. Like I wouldn't have been able to like get out the way anyway, right?
Yeah.
And because of the wind, it picks up and smacks right onto my windshield, covering my entire windshield for like a solid 5 seconds.
Oh no.
Now it's these is this come to Jesus moment where you have a decision, okay? Because I'm in a 4-lane road, like I said. There's a like a left, there's a turn lane in the middle, like a median, right? So either I can get into that, which I can see, stop my car, and get the cardboard box off of my windshield. I can slow down in hopes that it jars it forward, or I could speed up in hopes that the wind will pick it off my windshield. I chose the latter. It worked.
I chose the latter. Oh man.
So yeah, I just kind of gunned it, and the wind picked it up and took it off my windshield. But it was scary because it like made like a really loud sound when it hit my windshield.
Yeah,
And so like for a
frightening.
split second, I'm like, did I just get hit? Did my entire windshield just break? Like, was that a piece of wood? Like, what the fuck? It was
Oh
butthole
god.
puckering moments. I swear
Butthole
to
puckering moments are what truly
butthole.
define people.
Yes, it truly is. I think that they're not talked about enough in society.
Yeah, they're
Um,
really not. I think that we should be more open as a society to talk about those
well, not only
butthole
that,
puckering moments. That's kind of a
but like
mouthful.
but like if I you have all these YouTube channels, they're starting to kind of die down now, but like a couple years back, like 2015, 2016 time period, you had all these YouTube channels, all the funny moments YouTube channels. Where are the butt puckering moments YouTube channels?
Well, Connor, just think you opened up a whole can of worms in terms of a
A whole
demographic of
butthole of
YouTube.
fuckers. A
A
whole
whole
butthole.
butthole pucker. You could open up an entire new category of YouTube that no one's ever seen before.
I don't think it'll get monetized just from the title, but I'm down.
I mean, we could title it something else. We could definitely workshop that.
Speaking of getting monetized and stuff, so you remember those two YouTube videos I had shown you of a couple? I would say buddy of mine just for the meme, but they're definitely not buddy of mine. They're acquaintances. I have
Well,
a couple
I mean,
stories about them.
okay.
But this first story is about their third YouTube channel they put out today. Remember, I had said that they had told me
Why
that
do
they
they
were
have
gonna pick up
multiple
some
YouTube
girls.
channels? Let's just stick to one.
They only have the one. I
Okay.
meant they have a new
Another
YouTube video.
video.
Video,
Okay.
yeah.
Another video. Okay.
So I swear I'm sober. So
I never.
anyway, they come up with they come up with all right, calm down, Hulk. They come up with a third video, and this video I only see a couple clips of it because someone at my lunch table was watching it, and I just kind of overhear what they were talking about. So just to get the gist of it, I haven't seen the video yet. But from the short clip that I did see, they didn't pick the girls up on Bumble. No, they instead decided to go to a Home Depot. Okay,
I already
convince
like
a
this.
poor employee that one of their parents got divorced or was planning on getting a divorce, got into a really bad fight at home, and the dad ran away, and they thought that he might have been at Home Depot because it was his favorite store and kind of escape from everything. And so they, for like a solid 30-45 minutes while they were filming, they were trying to convince this girl that their dad was somewhere in the store and trying to help them find it. Just a girl that was just an employee there.
My God, no, just no.
Now I didn't tell you this, but I had reached out to them because I was like, okay, again, this is a come to Jesus moment when you're watching these videos. And I know these guys. I'm acquaintances with them. I have a couple classes with them. But they have potential. And I know you're laughing at this now, but they do have some sort of potential. Now, their potential is that they are the very epitome of white college boys.
Oh yeah,
They are the
and it's
poster childs.
beautiful.
They're the poster childs for chachas. And that in and of itself is just beautiful because they don't give a shit, right? They work out too much, they drink too much, and yeah, they're
There's just no
probably
laws when you're
actually
drinking White Claws.
they're probably actually racist and probably actually like homophobic and like sexist, but I saw potential in them. And so some of the stuff I've worked on in the past, some projects I've worked on in the past, like
Yeah, they're
companies I've
beautiful.
worked for, and
Absolute works of art.
some companies I've worked for in the past, right? Like our buddy Trey with the CBD, and then another buddy of mine that it didn't end up working out too well. But yeah, I've been in like online marketing for a couple years now, 2 years. Let's be frank here, and so I was like, logically the next step forward would be getting into social media management, right? Managing social media influencers. Just want to do it as a little side gig, see if it went anywhere. It could be kind of fun or whatever. So I was like, you know what? If I could convince these guys to let me be their manager and I could smooth out their rough edges, they could actually make a good, decent following just because of their nature and their charismatic ways.
Yeah, I totally
Because a lot of their problems was that they were using copywritten music in their videos, right? I don't know if they got any agreements from anyone that they were filming in public. You don't really need them in Texas, but it's still a good idea to have them just because in Texas you don't need them, like I said, but that only holds up in like an actual court. In civil court, that's a whole nother basket.
That's something
So
I wouldn't even have thought of.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
completely over
because
my head.
just going on a little tangent here. Contracts in general, right?
Yeah.
Something that I've learned through just talking to a bunch of photographers and stuff like that is when you're starting out in photography or freelance anything, write out an agreement with the person you're working for, have them sign it, have you sign it, have them date it, have you date it.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if you don't get it notarized, if you can't afford to get it notarized by an attorney, or you don't want to waste the time of having to rewrite it, whatever, that contract might not hold up in like a court, but in a civil lawsuit, that'll hold up as an agreement.
It's a written document.
Exactly. Even though it's not notarized, it's a written document. You both have signatures. You both know what you're getting yourselves into. So back to the story. So I reached out to them. I reached out to the head guy, right? Not going to name any names because I don't want to put them on
piss anybody
blast
off.
quite yet, because there's still some stuff that could come out of this. But I contact him, and right when I contact him, I go check his Instagram account, and he puts a story up on his Instagram account about another CBD company that he's apparently an influencer of, like a sponsored influencer of. And he said, ATX influencers, hit me up if you want a sponsorship deal from the CBD company. And I click on it, and it's more of your typical CBD company, right? Like it's got the pretty boy, like middle-aged man who works out way too much and is way too tan, has a leathery skin, like the kind of grayish beard and the grayish kind of going hair. And he just looks like he would be a guy that owns a CBD company, right?
Okay.
And he has a bunch of like different CBD stuff, but then on his page he has CBD with THC in it. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't care in general, but
Some
just the
people, man.
legality of it. Like, if I'm going to be getting on of these people's managers and they're already sponsored by a guy who's selling THC CBD in Texas, oh my God.
Yeah.
So a day goes by, he doesn't respond to me. I think he just ignored it or whatever and is just laughing his ass off about it behind the scenes. Finally gets back to me, and he says, looked at your Instagram. I like your pictures. You're great. We don't really need a manager at the moment, but we would maybe like to bring you on as a videographer and editor for the channel. I was like, that could still work because I can still smooth out the edges. Because I'd have full control over the edit, so I could be using non-copyrighted music. I'd be the camera crew, so I could make sure that I'm having some kind of even verbal agreement with the people that we're filming if we do end up filming people.
Mm-hmm.
This happened before the Home Depot video, right? Home Depot video comes out, and I'm like, do I even still want to work for these people?
I'll
Because
need to
like
check out the Home Depot video because now I've only seen those first two.
Yeah, we'll watch it after this. We'll watch it after
Okay.
after the podcast. But I'm just thinking to myself, put myself in that shoes, right? I'm working dead end job, Home Depot, right? They pay well, but they don't pay enough for some asshole kids to come in with a camera and film and legitimately get me worked up
Ruin
on the
your
fact
day.
that ruin my day, ruin my shift.
Yeah.
I think that they're legitimately in need of help, like their father's missing. I don't know why they have a camera, but it's just like I would have been more okay with the Bumble video, but then picking up girls on Bumble, honestly. Like, so that's an update on that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it was, and that just happened today. The video
That
came
was
out
just
today.
today. I mean, who knows what else could happen?
I know, it's insane,
Oh God.
absolutely insanity.
Oh man.
Oh,
Okay, so I got a question.
okay, go for it.
Did you watch or listen to any of the Bob Lazar interviews that Joe Rogan did?
Remind me who Bob Lazar is.
Bob Lazar was a scientist that worked at a lab near Area 51 dealing with some of the same
That's right.
chemicals, but not
That's right.
at Area 51.
That's right. That's right. I know who Bob Lazar is.
Okay.
I know who I've seen plenty of like videos on who Bob Lazar is, so I know that whole
There's a
story.
Netflix documentary about him
That's what I
called
saw. I saw the
Bob Lazar
Netflix.
and Flying Saucers, I think.
I
Bob
saw the
Lazar, Area
Netflix.
51, Flying
Yeah.
Saucers. Yeah. I
Saw
think
that one.
Jeremy Corbell did that one.
He did.
Okay.
Did a pretty decent job for a conspiracy theory
It was
documentary. I
like
have to
his
say.
first big one too. I was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
impressed with it.
He was very thorough about it. He brought in more than just he brought in a lot of people. I liked it.
Extremely thorough. No, but I was just curious if you had heard anything about his case or how familiar you are with his case.
Pretty familiar.
Okay. Do you think that everything that he says he saw is real?
I'm in two minds about it. Okay, because on one hand, my personal belief is that there is no way that we are alone.
No.
Like
It's absolutely
there's got to be something out
there's
there.
too much shit.
But at the same time, from our knowledge of physics and stuff, the difficulty for even the closest planet in a Goldilocks zone to Earth it would not be worth sending organics to Earth for study. They would send probes. They would send unmanned missions to study us if they were going to study us at all.
Okay, but my
So no. This ties back into
go
it.
ahead,
I
go ahead.
try. So going off of that belief that I already think that there is other beings out there, sentient beings that we just haven't come into contact. I think that we haven't come into contact with them yet. But whenever I hear and I watch documentaries like that, where it's very difficult to differentiate, like, or it's very difficult to say otherwise, right? Um, so my two minds is either he's speaking a part truth or the full truth. And I don't think that he's lying. I don't think that's a full blatant lie. I think that he definitely
So you think
probably
he's
did.
holding back a little bit?
No.
No.
I think that he either. I think that I guess it could be seen as a form of holding back. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if the partial lie that I'm saying that it could possibly be is that he's over analyzing a situation. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, a lot of the times, our historical records that we have of ancient times is based off of word of mouth, sometimes coming from the ruler who's telling the story about himself, right?
Hmm.
Over fantasizing his own story.
Hmm.
And because we'll never, like with ancient history, we'll never know for a fact whether Balbazar is telling the full truth or just an exaggerated form of the truth. That's where I have issue with it. But I definitely think that it's true that we do have some very advanced technologies in the works at Area 51 or at any secretive location.
Well, I mean, like, like for instance, like I showed the interview to my brother, and he's just like, yeah, aliens aren't real. It's whatever. It's like crazy dude talking about this stuff, and I was like, okay, but like you have to take into account that he's been telling the exact same story since like 1983,
And
1985,
that's
somewhere in
the
there.
difficult part because it's been the exact same story. He hasn't changed anything like liars do.
There's nothing. There's nothing that's changed. And
Right.
like you ask him about something, he's like, "Oh yeah, it happened on this day, and I did this thing," or like whenever
He has the
this
receipts, yeah.
exactly like nothing's changed. And I just think that's kind of crazy to think about because like you look at like any of these other people that are like, "Oh yeah, I saw a UFO," and they're like, "Okay, well like what did it do? What color was it? What time of day was it?" Like
Right.
all this stuff, and it always changes.
It always changes, yeah. I
So,
think that I think this is gonna be a wild statement, but I think that this all kind of started around the latter half of World War II, towards the end of World War II, where we started getting this kind of fascination with because the World War II era is where we see a very massive leap in technology, right? Before the war, we were flying biplanes, right? Like we were flying biplanes, there were open cockpit, and our bombs were literally sacks of gunpowder that the pilot would just drop out the side
it
of it.
was
Okay.
pretty caveman. Like
It was
it was not
exactly.
it was not civilized or like it wasn't complicated at all. It was just like, yeah, here's
We
this
were
thing.
we were barely
This
using
this is
tanks.
what we got.
Horses were still seen as cavalry, and
Yeah, I don't know who decided that. Like what year were they like, "Hey, we should not classify horses as cavalry still, by the way." Like they're not
whenever
efficient at all.
whenever one side finally rolled up to a cavalry battle with tanks, and the other one still had horses,
Yeah.
and the horses got blown out the water
There
by the
has to be an
tanks.
account for that. What account was that? Like there has to be a
For
time
the
that that happened.
it would
Like
have been
somebody
World War
rolled up
One.
in tanks and the other side had horses and they were like, "Well, we're
It would have
fucked."
been latter half of World War One. I think it might have been England, some English battle versus Germany, where
Did
England rolled
Germans
up
have
with
tanks
horses.
first?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's really difficult to say who has tanks first. The Germans and the British, I believe. I might get repped into
Well,
the
I mean,
for
it's
this one, but
obviously Europeans because Americans are fucking retarded. But
oh yeah. And like we would ship hunks of metal to a different continent for about like a conflict we had no business being in.
true.
You know, like we had a business being in World War II. That's why we did it. But World
Yeah.
War One, no, we were just gonna send men. Um, but anyways, this whole World War II era, we see a massive jump in technology because by the end, like I said, biplanes with very just guns that would misfire all the time, just very caveman, very rough technology for military weapons, right?
Hmm.
Tanks didn't even have like cannons mounted on them. They would just have guys stick machine guns out of windows and shoot out of them. Okay,
It was just an armored car. I mean,
pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah,
an
more
armored
like a
all-terrain car.
tin can with treads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So, and then by the end of it, we have some tanks that we still use iterations of today. We have jet planes. We have flying wings. We have rockets. Like we have not ICBMs, but ballistic missiles.
Hmm.
At the end of World War II,
And how long was World War II? Like,
it started in 19. Depends upon who you believe. It either started in 1936 or 1938. It could have started as early as
all right,
1930,
so
depending upon the count.
38 to what? 40,
45.
45. Okay.
Yes,
Not that long a time.
exactly.
I
And
mean,
we
in
jumped
terms of
that
like
far in
speaking of like
technology.
technology wise, like leaps and bounds in that time
And
period.
then 1969, we landed on the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's an age you can, and so I think something happened because we brought German scientists over after World War II, right?
Some
Or
crazy motherfuckers.
even still during World War II. Once Germany was defeated, we still had to worry about Japan. So we
Mhm.
brought some German scientists over to work on the Manhattan Project. And I think this whole fascination of there's no way that the United States can get this kind of technology, there must be some otherworldly stuff, stems from this period of this advanced, like this very rapidly growing technology just boom that we had during World War II and after World War II.
Mhm.
Um, but you can say it was aliens, but what I think actually happened was that you had some crazy motherfuckers from Germany that got brought over to the United States, and we witnessed for the first time a global community working together towards a goal. We brought the greatest minds humanity had to offer to work towards certain goals.
Yeah, I guess that was the first time kind of in history that
Yeah,
we've brought people together. Yeah,
yeah.
to
Some
work on
people
one
thought
crazy project.
some hardcore patriot Americans said, we're bringing over Nazis to help us build something we don't need Nazis building, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these German scientists were Nazis on paper, but not at heart.
Yeah.
Uh, Werner von Braun, who was credited with designing and building the Saturn V rocket that brought us to the moon,
Hmm.
um, he had to essentially sign on as a Nazi in order to continue his study in rocketry.
Yeah, I mean that was his key to keep doing what he wanted to do.
Either he signed on as a Nazi to continue studying rocketry because Hitler found it entertaining, or he got drafted into the military and had to fight on the front line.
And I
So
mean,
he signed on as a Nazi because he wanted to continue his scientific endeavors.
so the moral of the story
Um,
is it's okay to sign on as a Nazi as long as you won't be fighting in the front line.
the
I'm
moral of the
sorry.
story is that I think that the time period where we start seeing this boom in technologies and also the crackdown on hush hush government about these technologies
Mhm.
is World War II and kind of the post era they're at. Um, and I think that is kind of like where we start getting this distrust for the government and the beginning of the whole alien interfering with the United States government conspiracy,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm absolutely like shocked by the whole Bob Lazar story
Yeah.
and listening to him on in multiple different settings, sitting down with multiple different people, talking about his experience there and the type of stuff that he saw and got to work with.
Hmm.
It's too detailed and it's too consistent for me to not believe it.
Yeah.
Like,
I get that.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm not that good of a liar or what the deal is, but like, I couldn't keep that story
Yeah.
for 30 plus years.
And that's why I say that I think that there's a lot of truth to the stories for
Yeah.
that very reason.
Yeah.
But like I said, post World War II, the public really, even during World War II, the public had no idea of the Manhattan Project, right?
Mm-mm.
It's only now that we do. So who's to say that 70 years from now, once a bunch of new records come out of classification, we find out the truth behind the Bob Lazar story, where we just had some crazy motherfuckers working on some crazy ass things that had nothing alien about them, right? Who's to say that that's not going to happen?
True. Well,
Because like general
this,
public didn't know anything about the Manhattan Project until we dropped the bombs on Japan,
yeah,
right? Then everybody knew about it.
yeah,
So, but they didn't know about the actual Manhattan Project of the Germans that got brought over. It was very secretive. So what I'm
mhm,
saying is we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, right?
very true.
We
And
only have one man's account of what's going on behind those closed doors.
exactly. And I don't know what event has to take place that, all this stuff comes out of, classified organizations and it's like, "Oh shit, this is all public now." Um
It's not going to be until the technologies that they're working on become obsolete. If once the tech if they ever put those technologies into mass production and we get them in our military, it's not until those models become obsolete and get replaced by other models that that classification will come off, because that's how it usually works. We have very detailed blueprints about most of the fighter jets that are decommissioned now,
mhm,
even some that are still commissioned, but they're on their way out. Like the F-18, we still know a lot about the F-18, but it's on its way out. It's being replaced by the F-22 and the F-35. We have very, very detailed blueprints and schematics of the F-14, which is out of commission completely, and the
mhm.
F-16, which is still being used a little bit in the Air Force. Um, so it's really not going to be until we have these items in commission, and then when they're no longer seen as necessary. Because once it's out globally.
Yeah.
Our enemies will have that information and know what the weak points are.
Well, and that's the other thing that, like, on the, other side of it, we may never see them because the
Yeah,
technology that Bob was talking about, like, it's stupid. He was talking about how there's like propulsion systems that have absolutely no discharge.
yeah.
Like, they just fucking move. Like, they're gravity propulsion systems that at free will change the direction of gravity within the craft. Like,
And what's
that's
scary to think about
insane.
what's scary to think about is our current president, right?
Hmm.
He's not very good at holding his tongue about anything.
Not at all.
So if he was ever briefed about this whatsoever, don't you think we would have heard more about it from him?
Yeah,
Especially during the whole Iran crisis,
definitely.
the mini crisis we had at the beginning, like towards the end
Hmm.
of last year and beginning of this year.
Yeah, no, we would have heard about it.
Because if whenever Iran shot at us, was it Iran or Iraq?
I think it was Iran.
Okay, I'm trying not to piss off a country,
I
but
believe it's Iran. It's all right.
we'll say it's Iran. If it's not, then there's one letter difference in your two names. Please change your name. Um,
Change your name. Now we have two Iraqs. Oh God. Okay.
Iraq, introducing Iraq 2. Anyways, when they shot at the U.S. base with their missiles, don't you think that a president like Trump would have said, "Look, I got this antimatter drive or this anti-gravity drive
I
that
got a
will shit
black
on
hole
you,"
shooter.
right? But that's something he would do,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I believe. I mean, I feel like we would have heard something that
Yeah,
would have been a little
but I
sketch, but
but also apparently that's why JFK was assassinated. Was because he knew too much about the project.
okay. I don't know. Like,
Now the flip side to that is that the Kennedys got into government because of uh the mob.
mhm,
Um John's dad or Jack's dad had big connections to the mob, and that's mainly how the Kennedys got in office and stayed in office. And JFK was the first one, and his brother were the first ones to kind of step back and away from that. They
mhm,
wanted to be their own people, and they wanted to legitimately be in office and not, and not be seen as, oh, you're just there because you have, powerful friends or whatever, right?
yeah.
So they did it their own way. And so the new thought process is that JFK pissed off the mob, and that's why they got assassinated. So
Interesting. I haven't heard that side.
either he knew too much and the CIA set it up, his assassination, or he pissed off the mob and they assassinated him.
Yeah.
Or it was just some crazy motherfucker that didn't like the government, so shot a president.
I mean that too.
There's always that one too.
There's always a million different reasons, but yeah. No, I haven't heard that side of it that he pissed off the
I just
mob.
heard it the other day. Yeah.
Hmm. I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard it in. I don't even fucking remember where I heard it. I just heard it somewhere. I mean, for all I know, it could have been in a fucking
I don't
dream.
fucking know. It came to me in a dream. Oh, that's
So
good.
many of my thought processes come to me.
That's good. All right, man. We're at 35 minutes. Do you wanna call it? You got other shit
You
you want
got?
to talk about?
Do you got any other shit to talk about?
I mean, I got another alien account that we could talk about for next week, but
All right. Well, let me just throw this little mini
go
thing in
for
there.
it.
Birds aren't fucking real.
Birds are not fucking real.
Birds wake up. They work for the bourgeoisie.
Birds do work for the fucking bourgeoisie, and I hope
No, but okay,
everyone
okay.
fucking
How
realizes that.
how fucking ridiculous is that?
I haven't looked into it enough, but I'm curious. I want to know more about it.
There's a legitimate movement. I found a website. These people have a website.
Have
The
you ever seen? I keep getting shit on my Instagram because my phones are listening to us. But I keep getting shit on my Instagram that it's literally merchandising and it's like hats
Yeah,
and shit. It's like birds aren't real.
yeah.
I want to know more.
It's essentially
And
just
then there's
this.
a fucking shirt. I almost bought it the other day because I thought it was hilarious. It was a bird, like a fucking crow or
Yeah.
something, as like a fucking puppet master. And on one side you had like Uncle Sam, and the other side you had like a news reporter. And I was like, they're controlling the government and the media. This is
Oh my
hilarious.
fuck.
I thought it was so funny.
It's just the backstory is that so their belief is that aliens um birds are drones that the government used to for surveillance on people.
Yeah,
And
so they're just
the
not
reasoning
real.
behind it the reasoning behind it is well, they were real at one point, but through pollution and just dirty air they became extinct. But at some point, as they were beginning to become extinct, the government started switching them out for drones. Um, and their reasoning behind it is that it's very rare that you see a baby bird. So if there's no babies, then how are the birds getting there? What these idiots don't realize is that the babies stay in the nests until they have feathers and are essentially adults and able to fly.
I don't know, man. I think that we should read into this a little bit more. I don't
Oh
know, man.
Jesus Christ,
I
man!
think we should
Oh
read
my
into it
God!
a little bit more. I think we should get somebody, start reading a little bit more about like the whole simulation theory stuff.
Oh, the simulation theory. I watched a podcast about that the other day.
Yeah.
We should definitely go into that in a
We should
different
just
podcast.
throw out freaky stuff, make people think a little
Oh my
bit,
God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
you know?
Be badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm good if you're good.
I'm good.
All right,
All right.
sweet,
Cool. So
cool.
that was episode 1.